Read the statement of sum number 3, illustration number 3. We have one spherical shell, SHELL. Spherical shell means hollow sphere. Okay. Inside that hollow sphere, we have some quantity of ice. What is outside temperature? 30 degrees centigrade. Temperature of inside region, you can take melting point of ice, which is 0 degrees centigrade. Okay. Fine. Where the heat will flow from higher temperature to lower temperature. So in this case, from outside to inside. When that heat will flow from outside to inside through the walls of that cavity, then that heat will melt the ice. It will melt the ice. And the ice will be getting transformed into water. That is from solid to liquid state. From solid to liquid state. They have asked in 1 day time how much quantity of ice will be melted. Okay. So mass of ice getting melted in 1 day time we have to find out. Okay. The formula of heat flow or heat current they have given in the statement itself. dq by dt or q by d. It is same in steady thermostat. dq by dt equals to q by d. And q by d formula they have given 4 pi k r1 r2 upon r1 minus r2 into t1 minus t2. Just give me identification of each quantity. Come on. What is small k? Thermal conductivity of what? No. Thermal conductivity of the wall of that cavity. Wall of that cavity. And wall of that cavity is made up of which material? Thermocol. So its thermal conductivity is given to us. What is R1? Outer radius. Outer radius, which is bigger. Okay. What is R2? Inner radius, which is smaller. What is T1? Higher temperature. What is T2? Lower temperature. Simple. Now tell me. Instead of Q, now you should write ml dash. Q equals to ml dash. Try to understand. Why Q is equal to ml dash? You know what is L dash here? Latent heat of fusion of ice. Latent heat of fusion of ice. Latent heat of fusion of ice. And what do you mean by that? Latent heat of fusion of ice means amount of heat required to transform 1 gram of ice completely into water. That amount of heat required is called latent heat of fusion of ice. At the melting point of ice, amount of heat required to transform 1 gram of ice completely into water is called latent heat of fusion of ice. Practically we find it 80 calorie per gram. 80 calorie per gram. So if you want to melt 1 gram of ice and you want to transform it completely into water, you will require 80 calories. 80 will require 80 calories. Let it be shown by symbol L dash. For 1 gram if it is L dash. For 1 gram if it is L dash. And for melting m gram, how much heat do we require? M into L dash. Say M into L dash. That's why Q equals to ml dash. Okay. M is mass, L dash is latent heat of fusion of ice. Latent heat of fine. T as it is. Okay. This comes on right hand side as it is. Now let me place all the values. I want this mass. So leave M as it is. What is latent heat of fusion of ice? They have given 335 kilojoule per kilogram. Kilojoule per kilogram. Kilogram is okay. But kilojoule is not the SI unit of energy. SI unit of energy is joule. You must convert kilojoule to joule. Kilojoule to joule. Multiply by 10 raised to 3. Okay, fine. Time. You are given 1 day time. How much? 1 day is how many hours? 1 hour is how many seconds? 3600. Day to hours, hours to seconds. Simple. 4 into pi. Pi is 3.14. Small k. Thermal conductivity they are given of the thermocol 0.0275. 0.0275. SI unit. Say. What about R1? Outer radius. Say. What is inner radius? 20 centimeter. Correct. How much? 20 look here. Look. So this is the spherical shell. Okay. Now tell me. This is the inner surface, suppose. Okay. Now tell me. What is this inner radius? Anna, what is this inner radius? Then tell me what is this? Outer radius. Say. Outer radius. So how to find outer radius? How to find outer radius? Inner radius plus thickness. Inner radius. Come on, inner radius. Inner radius will give you outer radius. What is inner radius? 20 centimeter. What is thickness? 3.14 centimeter. 3.14 centimeter. Just make addition. 20 plus 3.14. 20 plus 23.14. That many centimeter. That many. Suppose I want the value in meter. Then 23.14 divided by 100. So 0.2314. Correct? That many meter. It is outer radius. What about inner radius? Come on, 20 centimeters. Say 20 upon 100. Come on, this is outer radius minus inner radius. Outer minus inner will give you thickness. Will give you and thickness you are given 3.14 centimeter upon 100. 3.14 upon 100. What is it? 0.0314. 0.0314. What about higher temperature? 30 degrees centigrade. That is outside temperature. And this is lower temperature. It is inside temperature. It is 0 degrees centigrade. Okay. Simplify. Find out value of M. It comes out to be 3.939 that many kilogram. Okay. Now they given one footnote. In the solution they given one note. Read at the end. Have they given one note? Yes. Extra formula, but it is for not spherical cell, it is for cylindrical cell. It is for now look. They have written in the denominator. What have they written in the denominator? On right hand side? Natural log. Ln means what? Natural log. Ln means what? Natural log of R1 minus natural log of R2. Have they written? Have they written? Now remember one rule of logarithm. Log A minus log B. Log A minus log B. It is log of A upon B. Log of A upon B. Log A minus log B is how much? Log of A upon B. Similarly, log R1 minus log R2. Log R1 minus log R2 is what? Look here. Log of R1 upon R2. Okay. Now, based upon this formula, here they have not given any sum in the textbook, but in the school examination they may ask. So let us solve one sum based upon this formula. Look, first of all, try to understand. In the denominator, what is it? Ln means what? Natural logarithm. Say natural logarithm. Now natural logarithm has base small e. Small e. What is the value of small e? 2.718. 2.718. Such a logarithm having base e is known as natural logarithm. But the log table which we have, it has base 10. It has base 10. So you must convert base e to base 10. Base e to base 10. Base e to base 10. Then for that you need to multiply by 2.303. Say 2.303. Say 2.303. Wait. So here what can I write? Here what can I write? Look. Q upon D as it is. Correct? Then in the numerator 2 pi KL into T1 minus T2 as it is. Correct? But divided by, look now, Instead of natural logarithm, I want logarithm to the base 10. As I said, I should multiply by 2.303. 2.303. Look, 2.303. Now you should write log. Log means logarithm to the base 10 of R1 upon R2. Correct? So this is the formula for our purpose. We must use this formula now. Okay? Right on. Write extra sum. Right. In illustration number 3. Write down. In illustration number 3, if instead of spherical shell, SHELL, if a cylindrical shell of length 3 meter is given, then find mass of ice melted in 1 day. Mass of ice melted in 1 day. Into bracket. Take remaining values as it is. Here Q should be written as ml dash. Q should be replaced by ml dash. Then all other values as in this sum, correct? Except m, you have to find out new value. And the denominator is getting changed now. Take the steps, everybody. Stop writing. Look. Instead of Q, have you written ml dash? Check it in the notes. Written upon small d, correct? This part as it is, and here we must have written, come on, 2.303, come on, log of R1 upon R2. Wait. In the next step, m as it is, m which we require, into L dash. L dash have you placed? 335 into 10 raised to 3. Have you written? Yes, sir. Upon T, have you written 1 into 24 into 3600? Yes, sir. On right hand side, come on, 2 into pi, 3.14. What about small k? 0.0275. Correct. What about L? 3 meter. I have given 3 meter. What about temperature difference? 30 minus 0. 2.303. Log R1 is 0.2314. And what is R2? 0.2. Written? And now find out, just look here, this upon this, 0.2314 upon 0.2. Are you getting 1.157? Yes. 1.157. 1.157. So log of 1.157. See what is there right now in multiplication? Log of this. Log of 1.157. Log of 1.157. Open the textbook, find out log table. 1.157, its logarithm you can start with characteristic 0 point. Characteristic 0 point. What about mantissa? Find out. Against 11, below 5, difference of 7. Against 11, below 5, difference of 7 you have to add. Against 11, below 5, are you getting? 0607. Against 11 below 5, are you getting? 06. Getting in the logarithm table. Then continue the same line and see the table of differences. Table of differences. 26. So 0607 plus 26. 0607 plus 26. 26 you can add in the last 2 digits. So it is 0633. 06 and already it is 0 point. Already it is 0.0633. Everybody 0.0633. 0.0633 into 2.303 into and the numerator value is already dictated. Okay. Simplify, find out. I want same value of mass from everybody. that final answer. You just try to get it. How much? 27.5 kilogram. 27.5 kilogram. Perfect. Though you have calculator, then also you are not finding the answer. Earlier in the old syllabus, students were not allowed to use the calculator. They were using log table, and then also they were getting correct answer. So now in the exam, prepare this formula also. They may ask, because it is given in the textbook, and they may ask. Okay. See now next. Read number 4. Read the statement carefully 2 times. Very simple sum. We have 2 conducting rods. One made up of iron, I have written here Fe. Another made up of aluminum, I have written Al. They have same length, same cross-sectional area. Okay. They are joined at this juncture, and it is called interface or contact surface. The temperature of free end of iron rod, they are given 100 degrees centigrade. Temperature of free end of aluminum rod, they are given 0 degrees centigrade. Normally higher temperature we take T1, lower temperature we take T2. Temperature at the interface, come on, let it be Tx, which we have to find out. When the whole structure is lying in a steady thermal state, then you know amount of heat flow will be same in both the rods. Amount of heat flow will be same in both the rods. So dQ1 upon dt should be equal to dQ2 upon dt. But in steady thermal state, dQ upon dt equals to Q upon dt. dQ upon dt equals to Q upon dt. What is the formula of Q upon dt? Formula of Q upon dt? Ka T1 minus T2 upon L. So better you speak in words. Thermal conductivity multiplied by cross section area multiplied by temperature difference divided by length length. Thermal conductivity of first material, let it be K1. Cross section area is same, so here also A, here also A. Length is also same, so here also L, here also L. What about temperature difference for the first rod? Everybody, T1 minus Tx. Say. T1 minus Tx. And temperature difference for the second rod, Tx minus T2. Say. Tx minus T2. And thermal conductivity for second rod, I am taking K2. Same cross section area, so getting cancelled. Same length, getting cancelled. K1 as it is, T1 is 100 degrees centigrade. T1 is minus Tx. Now K2 means what? Thermal conductivity of aluminum, which they have given 4 times the thermal conductivity of iron. So K2 they have given 4 into K1. 4 into K1. And this Tx minus T2. T2 is 0. T2 is 0. Now simplify. K1 will cancel. This 100 I have written here. This is minus Tx, going on that side will become plus Tx. 4Tx plus Tx. 4Tx plus Tx. How much it is? 5Tx. So now find out Tx. 100 upon 5 will be 20 degrees Celsius. And suppose they ask this temperature in Kelvin, then degree centigrade should be converted into Kelvin. You are supposed to add 273. 200 so 20 plus 273 will make 293. 200 Kelvin if at all they ask. Okay. Next. You must have read one new word, new physical quantity called specific heat. Okay. First of all, try to understand what is specific heat. Actually, it comes in second semester. Let me introduce you. Specific heat is shown by symbols capital C. Its formula is delta Q upon m delta T, where m is mass, delta T is increase in temperature, delta Q is the amount of heat required for this much increase in temperature in this much mass. So now to define this specific heat, what we should do? We should take the denominator 1 unit. Denominator? 1 unit. So take mass as 1 gram, suppose. Mass as and delta T as 1 degree centigrade. 1 degree. If you put here 1 and 1, then C will be delta Q. C will be amount of heat required to increase the temperature of 1 gram of substance by 1 degree centigrade. To increase the temperature of 1 gram of substance by 1 degree centigrade, that amount of heat required is called specific heat of material of that body. Specific heat of material of that body. Come on. Find out delta Q from here, transfer this. Delta Q will be MC delta T. Delta Q will be MC delta T. Now instead of delta Q, I just make a change of symbol. Suppose I write only Q, will do no problem. Ultimately it is amount of heat energy to increase the temperature of m gram of mass by delta T degree centigrade. Amount of heat required is how much? MC delta T. MC, where C is called specific heat. Now tell me, don't you know this formula? In steady thermostat, Q equals to Ka T1 minus T2 upon L into T. If you take Q by T, then this T will come down. But if you want to find out only Q, then T you must write here. Okay? Now come on, Q formula is what? MC delta T. Q formula is right hand side as it is. And now we want thermal conductivity, so we should make it subject of the equation. Transfer this capital L here. Okay? A, T1 minus T2, small t, everything you should bring down in the denominator. Now just put all the values. Come on. What about mass of water? Mass of water they are given 800 gram. 800 gram. What about specific heat of water? 1 calorie upon gram degree centigrade. 1 calorie upon gram degree centigrade. Come on. Here unit is calorie, here unit is gram, here unit is degree centigrade. Calorie upon gram degree centigrade. Calorie upon gram degree centigrade. Fine. What about delta T? Increase in temperature they are given by 30 degrees Celsius. What about length? Length between the two planes between which you are taking temperature difference, that length they are given 13 centimeter. What about cross section area? 12.56 centimeter square. Higher temperature is 56 degrees centigrade, lower temperature is 45 degrees centigrade, and time given is 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds, so multiply this minute by 60, you will get the time in second. Simplify all the values. Because you have placed all the values in CGS, now unit of thermal conductivity you write this way: calorie upon second centimeter degree centigrade. Calorie upon second centimeter. Why centimeter? Because of CGS. Had it been MCAS, we could have written here meter. Okay? And value of capital C was given to you 1 calorie upon gram degree centigrade. 1 calorie. 1 calorie. That's why we are writing here calorie. Suppose specifically is given to you in terms of joule, suppose, then you may write here joule. Got it? Next. Sum number 6 is very good. Very good, sir. We have one rod, okay, and it has length 1 meter. I am writing here 100 centimeter. Fine. One end of that rod is in contact with water, which is boiling. Boiling water will have temperature equal to boiling point of water, which is 100 degrees. Another end is in contact with melting ice. Ice will be getting melted at temperature called melting point of ice, which is 0 degrees centigrade. Correct? So here constant temperature is how much? 100 degrees centigrade. Here constant temperature is 0 degrees centigrade. Fine. We are given one heat source, say burning candle. Burning candle. The temperature of flame of that candle, they have given 2000 degrees centigrade. 2000 degrees centigrade. and we are asked to find out position of that flame, position of that candle, such that rate of boiling of water and rate of melting of ice should become equal. What should be that position? We should find out that. But just try to understand how does it happen. Suppose I place it here, correct? Now tell me, what is the temperature of this cross section? Temperature of this cross section is, come on, 2000. Is it greater than 100? Yes. Where the heat will flow from high temperature to? From high temperature to? This way. Correct? And that heat will be delivered through this and into this water which is already boiling. So it will make more water to boil up. Okay, fine. So here temperature is 100 degrees centigrade, and once water is getting boiled, it will be transformed into steam. So there is a change of state. There is a change of state from liquid to gaseous. From liquid to gaseous. And here, is this 2000 greater than 0? Yes. So heat will also flow in this direction. And that heat through this end will be delivered into this ice, and it will make it melting. It will make it melting. Yes. So here ice is melted. So it will be transformed into water. Transformed into water. So here also there is a change of state from solid to liquid. From solid to liquid. And whenever you have change of state, use this formula. Q equals to ml dash. Q equals to no change of state, only change of temperature. You may use this formula MC delta T. MC. So remember only two extra formula for Q. Come on, one is ml dash and another is MC delta T. There is a change of state. Use this formula. No change of state, only change of temperature, use this formula. Okay, fine. Now, suppose this distance is x, which I require to find out. Because total length is 100 centimeter, if this much length is x, then remaining length must be 100 minus x. Now, don't you know this formula in steady thermostat? Amount of heat is Q equals to Ka, T1 minus T2 upon L into T. Because there is a change of state, I should write Q equals to ml dash. Q equals to ml dash. Find out m upon t. M upon t. And transfer this L dash here. L into L dash. Say everybody, L into L dash. What do you mean by m upon t? Here, m upon t means what? Amount of mass of water. Amount of mass of water getting boiled in 1 second. Getting boiled in 1 second. You can say rate of boiling. Rate of boiling. Rate of boiling. And here what do you mean by m upon t? Amount of mass of ice. Amount of mass of ice getting melted in 1 second. You can say it is rate of fusion of ice. Rate of fusion of ice. Correct? Rate of melting of, rate of boiling of water, rate of boiling of water, and rate of melting of ice, they want same. They want same. So this left hand side is constant. Left hand side is constant. Because left hand side is constant, come on, right hand side also must be constant. If this right hand side is constant, you just tell me this term for left portion and for the right portion. Correct? For left side. Tell me K into A as it is. K into A. What do we know this? Temperature difference. Say everybody. What is temperature difference? 2000 minus 100. Say 2000 minus 100 upon L. L is the distance between these two planes. What is it? X. Into what is L dash? Latent heat of vaporization of water. Latent heat of vaporization. And that they given 540 calorie per gram. 540 calorie per gram. What do we mean by latent heat of vaporization of water? At the boiling point of water, amount of heat required to boil, to transform 1 gram of water completely into steam, is called latent heat of vaporization of water. Latent heat of at the boiling point of water, amount of heat required to transform 1 gram of water completely into steam is called latent heat of vaporization of water. By value it is 540 calorie per gram. What about this term for right portion? Come on, Ka as it is. Ka. Come on, temperature difference now. For the right hand side, temperature difference is 2000 minus 0. Come on, 2000 minus 0 upon L. L is the distance between these two planes now. It is 100 minus X. And into L dash. Into L. Now for ice it is latent heat of fusion of ice. Latent heat of fusion of ice. And it is 80 calorie per gram. Simplify, you will get the value of X. Come on, 12.33. 12.33 is many centimeter because this 100 was in centimeter. 100 was in, suppose you take here 1 meter, no problem, then you will get the value of X. 0.1233, 0.12, but that many meter, that many, because this 100 was in centimeter, x value we get in centimeter. Okay. Which were the three modes of heat transfer? Heat conduction, heat convection, heat radiation. Conduction is completely over. Now we switch over to heat convection. Heat convection. Look. What do you mean by heat convection? Heat is getting transferred in liquids majority through this mode known as heat convection. What is that mode? Let us try to understand. Consider some liquid filled in this beaker, and suppose we want to make it heated to certain degree of temperature. Through this flame of a burner, we try to heat that liquid. Fine. Now tell me, how to find the liquid in this part? Liquid in this part is very close to this flame, very close to this flame, very close to heat source. Because it is very close to heat source, this much part will be heated by more amount, will be heated quickly, will be heated quickly. Because this part is getting heated quickly and by more amount, temperature of this part will increase suddenly. Okay, temperature will increase quickly. Temperature will increase quickly. When temperature increases, then volume will increase. Volume will increase. You can say heating causes expansion. Heating causes expansion. When volume increases now, what is density? Mass upon volume. What is density? Volume is there in the denominator. When volume increases, density will decrease. Density will decrease. So here this fluid, this liquid becomes rarer because density decreases. Density decreases. And you will study one force, one property in second semester, that is buoyancy. What is that property? Buoyancy. And due to the property of buoyancy, buoyant force arises, and that buoyant force is exerted on this part of the fluid in the vertically upward direction. Vertically upward. Always remember, rarer fluid will come up and denser fluid will come down. Rarer fluid will go up and denser fluid will come down. Fluid means a word given to both liquid as well as gas. Liquid as well as gas. So here, because this part has become, rarer, it will go up, and the place of that rarer part will be taken by denser part. Denser part comes down under the effect of gravity. Under the effect of gravity. Rarer fluid goes up, denser fluid comes down. Everybody, rarer fluid goes up, denser fluid comes down. That is how some streams are set up in the liquid. Those streams are called currents. What are they called? Currents. We call them convection currents. We call them convection. And because of such convection currents which are taking place throughout the volume of the liquid, the entire volume of the liquid will be heated up, and this way of heating is known as heat convection. What is it called? Heat convection. And these streams are called convection currents. Okay? If you spread a powder, KMnO4, potassium permanganate, some particles of that potassium permanganate into water which is being heated, then you can really visualize these streams. You can visualize these streams, you can visualize these convection currents. Okay? Fine. Now, there are very important points of difference between heat conduction and heat convection. Would you like to write down? Write down. On the left side you write down heat conduction. On the right side heat convection. Right. First point on the left side for heat conduction. Heat is transferred by this mode. Majority in solids. Right on opposite. Heat is transferred through this mode. Majority in liquids. Second point on the left side. There is no translational motion of constituent particles. Opposite, right? There is translational motion of constituent particles. There is translational motion of constituent particles. Number 3. It is due to temperature difference. It is due to temperature difference. On right side you write down. It is due to density difference. It is due to density difference. Then fourth point, here heat is transferred. Heat is transferred in specific direction, comma, ton by ton, ton by ton. That is one after another, one after another. Opposite write down. Here, heat is transferred simultaneously. Next point on left side. Here there are no currents or streams. There are no currents or streams. Opposite write down. Here there are currents or streams, comma, known as convection currents. Known as convection currents. Last point. Here, gravity is not required. Gravity is not required. Opposite. Here, gravity is required. Gravity is required. Look, there are two types of convection. First is, look here, artificial. We also call it induced. Induced, artificial or induced. Okay. And second is natural. Okay. What are the examples of artificial or induced convection? Pump. Our heart also acts like a pump. Then exhaust fan. Then stirrer. Here pressure difference is responsible. Pressure difference is responsible for convection currents. What is responsible? Pressure difference. Second type is natural. Natural convection is due to density difference. Due to density difference. I'm showing you how. Say this is sun. Okay. Say this is surface of earth. From sun, solar radiation is emitted, and in this part it is incident normally, perpendicularly. Okay. So this part of atmospheric air is heated by more amount and heated quickly also. But for the further parts, you can see there is oblique incidence. There is oblique incidence. So this part of atmospheric air is not getting heated so much, okay, as this part is getting heated. Now air in this part becomes rarer, and as it becomes rarer, come on, it will rise. Hot air rises, cold air comes down. So there will be flow of cold air. There will be flow of cold air. And that flow of cold air, we call it cold wind. Cold wind. What is wind? Wind is nothing but blowing air. Blowing air. If it is a stream of hot air, we call it hot wind. Stream of cold air, we call it cold wind. Wind is nothing but flowing or flowing air. Okay? Fine. So these are natural convection examples, and there are convection current set up due to density difference. Fine. We go for anomalous expansion of water. Generally, for every substance, when you increase temperature, volume will increase, density will decrease. Volume will increase, but it is not so for water in the range 0 degrees centigrade to 4 degrees centigrade. In this range, as you increase the temperature for water, instead of volume increasing, volume is decreasing. And here at 4 degrees centigrade temperature, volume becomes minimum. When volume becomes minimum, come on, density will be maximum. You decrease the temperature. When you decrease the temperature of any body, normally what happens? Volume decreases, density increases. Volume decreases, but it is not so for water when you decrease the temperature from 4 degrees centigrade to 0 degrees centigrade. Instead of volume decreasing, volume is keeping on increasing. At 0 degrees centigrade, volume is found to be maximum. When volume is maximum, come on, density will be minimum. And at temperature below 0, it will be now ice. For ice, don't you know? Density is smaller than density of water. Density of ice is smaller than density of water. Ice floats on water. Okay, fine. Now look. Consider a lake. Okay, and there is a water surface at the top. But in the winter, if there is drastic fall in the temperature, suppose temperature of atmosphere falls suddenly, then if it goes in on the minus side, then immediately this water will start losing heat. As water is losing the heat, it will be getting frozen. It will be transformed into ice. That is solid. Okay? But density of ice, as I said, it is less than density of water. So this ice layer will float on the water. Okay? For depending upon the time for which temperature remains very low, then more and more water will be getting transformed into ice. So thickness of ice layer goes on increasing. However, the marine life, those creatures which reside inside the water, they are called marine life or aquatic life. Those aquatic creatures, they can sustain, they can remain alive because they are in water. Okay? And now what happens? If the outside temperature is still low, then now if this water wants to lose the heat, that heat will have to pass through the ice layer. And one more thing, thermal conductivity of ice is very small as compared to thermal conductivity of water. So after some thickness of ice layer has been formed, it is very difficult to lose the heat. So this water remains as water only. So these creatures can survive. Got it? So it is because of anomalous expansion of water, these creatures survive. It is a very good blessing for them. Okay, they can survive. God is so kind enough taking care of everybody. Look, why this ice is remaining on the water? Because of low density, correct?
Yes, sir.
It is because of anomalous expansion. If it is not so, then the whole quantity of water will be getting frozen. If whole quantity is getting frozen, where the creatures will go? Right? They cannot survive. God is so kind enough. Look, we go now for the last part of mode of heat transfer. Heat radiation. Conduction, convection, radiation. Heat radiation. What do you mean by this word radiation? It is a name commonly given to all types of electromagnetic waves. You know different types of electromagnetic waves by name? Remember this word, single word, Revoxg. Say,
Revoxg.
Radio waves, infrared light waves, visible light waves, ultraviolet light waves, X-rays and gamma rays. All these electromagnetic waves are given a common name, and that common name is radiation. Energy associated with radiation is called radiant energy. Is called radiant energy. Fine. And now we go for examples of this heat radiation. From sun, solar radiation is emitted. From sun, solar radiation is emitted. But between sun and earth, there are lakhs of kilometers which is not having any medium. Absence of every medium, it is nothing but vacuum. Nothing but vacuum. But yet, the solar radiation manages to come on the earth. So through solar radiation, whatever warmth, whatever heat we receive on earth, it is by third mode, and that third mode is known as heat radiation. Heat radiation. For the propagation of which no medium is required. No medium is required. Heat gets transferred through this mode majority in gases and in vacuum. Okay. Second example, in the winter season, when you are trying to get warmth from a burning coal, we don't touch that coal. We don't touch that coal. So, then also, though we are at some distance from that burning coal, we receive heat. We receive heat. By which mode? By this mode. By way of heat radiation. By mode of heat radiation. Got it? Fine. Then we go for one word called thermal radiation. Thermal radiation. What do you mean by thermal radiation? You consider that radiation which falls in these three sections: infrared, visible, ultraviolet. Okay? It is IVU, not ILU. Not ILU. IVU. Say IVU. Now that radiation is known as thermal radiation. What is it called? What is it called? There was a scientist, Mr. Prevost. He had proved experimentally that every substance whosoever is at temperature greater than absolute zero, greater than absolute zero means 0 Kelvin, say, or minus 273 degrees centigrade. Any substance which is having temperature greater than absolute zero, what does it do? Mr. Prevost had proved that it simply emits thermal radiation out of it. It emits thermal radiation. Thermal radiation is that radiation which has frequency or wavelength falling in these three sections of electromagnetic spectrum. Got it? Fine. Now we go for total emissive power of a surface. Total emissive. Why the word is total? I'll let you know. Just look here. Try to understand. And we show it by symbol capital W. Consider any body. What Mr. Prevost had proved? Any body at temperature greater than absolute zero. What does it do? It emits thermal radiation. So this also emits, look here, thermal radiation out of it. Fine. You consider unit area of this surface. How much? Unit area. Also consider 1 second for the emission of time. How much? 1 second. Out of unit area, whatever radiant energy is emitted in 1 second, that amount of energy itself is known as total emissive power of this surface. Amount of radiant energy emitted per unit area of a given surface in unit time is called total emissive power of that surface. Why the word is total? We are going to consider only unit area, only unit time. Then also why the word is total? This radiation, correct, has a range of continuously changing frequencies. Range of continuously changing. So you can think of from minimum to maximum. From minimum to maximum. You can think of from minimum to maximum. Suppose we consider entire range. We consider entire range. Okay. Because we are considering entire range from minimum to maximum, that's why the word is total emissive power. Word is total emissive power. If you understood the definition, tell me what is the unit of W. After all, tell me what is it? Radiant energy emitted from unit area in unit time. Radiant energy emitted from in unit. Ultimately it is energy, na? What is the unit of energy? Joule. Look here. And per unit area. I should divide by unit of area. Per unit time, I should divide by unit of time. Correct? But what is joule upon second? What is joule upon second? Watt. Say watt. Unit of power is what? Joule upon second. So joule upon second can be replaced by watt. So it is watt upon meter square. Watt upon meter square. Watt upon meter square. It is the unit of total emissive power. Okay. Now, what do you mean by spectral emissive power? Spectral emissive power. Wait. Suppose this total radiant energy emitted from unit area in unit time is 500 joules. How much? 500 joules. And it has a range of frequency ranging from 100 to 200, suppose. 100 to 200. What is minimum frequency we assume? 100 units. What is maximum frequency? 200. Now you do one thing, you classify, you distribute radiant energy according to their frequency. According to their frequency. How much energy has frequency between 100 and 101? How much energy has frequency between 101 and 102? How much has frequency between 102 and 103? So what I am doing, I am just dividing whole frequency interval into unit frequency intervals. Into unit frequency interval. I just select particular frequency, say f, and then after I am taking this frequency as f plus 1. F plus 1 minus f, so it will give you unit frequency interval. Everybody, unit out of 500, say this frequency is suppose 160, and this frequency is about 161. So between these two, what is the frequency interval? This minus this, it is 1 unit frequency interval. How much out of 500, how much energy has frequency between these two? Suppose that amount is 40. Amount is 40. Then this amount is known as spectral emissive power. Spectral emissive power. But pertaining to these frequencies, this frequency is F. This frequency is F. That's why we show the symbol WF. WF. You should write F well below W. It is a suffix. It is a suffix. Define it. Radiant energy emitted per unit area of a given surface in 1 second. In 1 second. Having frequency. In the unit frequency interval about a given frequency. In the unit frequency interval about a is called spectral emissive power. Is called spectral emissive power of that surface at that temperature for that frequency. At that of that surface at that temperature for that frequency. In short, it is also radiant energy emitted per unit area, per unit time, per unit frequency interval. Per unit frequency interval. Now tell me the unit of WF. It is energy, so I should write joule. Upon per unit area, so I should write meter square. Per unit time, I should write second. Per unit frequency interval. Per unit frequency, so I should divide by unit of frequency. Unit of frequency is 1 upon second. Unit of frequency is, don't cancel this second and second. If you cancel this second, then somebody will misunderstand like it is energy per unit area. That's all. Actually, it is not simply energy per unit area. It is energy per unit area, per unit time, per unit frequency interval also. So leave this second as it is. Don't cancel. Don't cancel. Okay? And take this second up. Take this second up. So now you may rewrite joule into second upon meter square into second. What is joule upon second? Watt. Yes, so this is watt. So watt into second upon meter square. Everybody, watt into second upon meter square. What is the unit here? Here it is only watt upon meter square, and here watt into second upon meter square. Got it? What do you mean by absorptivity? Absorptivity is shown by symbol small a. It is the ratio of radiant energy absorbed by given surface to the radiant energy made incident on it. Such a ratio is known as absorptivity. Known as absorptivity. Come on. Ratio of amount of radiant energy absorbed by given surface. Absorbed by given surface. To the amount of radiant energy made incident on the surface is known as absorptivity. Is known as absorptivity. What about unit of absorptivity? Unitless. Say unitless. Because it is energy upon energy. Energy upon energy. joule upon joule will cancel, correct? And value of A in practice for all types of surfaces, might be rough, might be smooth, might be polished, might be having any color. For all the types of surfaces, value of absorptivity is found to be always less than 1. In percentage, you can say less than 100%. Less than 100%. Maximum absorptivity in practice we find with lamp black, with a or soot. This soot or lamp black has maximum absorptivity 0.98. In percentage, you can say 98%. 98%. Now look, what do you mean by perfect black body? Perfect black body. A body having absorptivity 1 or 100% is known as perfect black body. Is known as a body having absorptivity 1 or 100% is called a perfect black body. Now, actually speaking, we don't have any body in the form of perfect black body. But theoretically, we can have some thought experiment, and in that thought experiment, we will understand very well what you mean by perfect black body. Look here. Suppose I have one spherical shell. This is the spherical shell. Okay? This is the wall. And inside that hollow part, it is called cavity. What is it called? Cavity. So here is a cavity with some walls enclosed from all the sides. And here there is a very small hole, very small. How much? Very small. And just opposite to that, we have kept one slope, and the whole inside surface is covered. Inside surface is covered by a layer of lamp black. By a layer of whose absorptivity is how much? 98%. Now look, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make a radiant energy incident on this hole. And now that radiant energy in the first incidence itself will be getting absorbed by 98%. Will be getting absorbed by 98%. So what is remaining? 2%. Say 100 units. Out of 100 units, 98 units is absorbed. What is remaining? 2 units. Say 2 units. Say 2 units. Now that 2 unit will be made incident here. Out of 2, again 98% will be getting absorbed. What is 98% of 2? 1.96, say 1.96. Then what is remaining? 0.04, say 0.04 is getting reflected. Again 98% of 0.04 will be getting absorbed here. Again 2% of that will be getting reflected. I mean to say, every time the reflected energy diminishes gradually, drastically, and ultimately within few incidences and reflections it will be becoming zero. It will be becoming zero. You don't bother whether it is absorbed here or here or here. You don't bother for that. You bother for the radiant energy which you had made incident on the whole. On the whole, whatever radiant energy you make incident, it is getting completely absorbed. Completely absorbed. No part of it comes out. No part of it comes out. So you can say that whole has 100% absorptive. Whole has 100%. And then such a vessel having this sort of hole can be taken as perfect black body. Can be taken as perfect black body. Why it is called black? Look, it is called black because if you try to see it using reflected light, then you will not see that. You cannot see it. You cannot see it. Why? You take it in dark room. Take it in dark room, and on this hole you just hold one torch. Switch it on. Let the light enter. Switch the torch off, and you try to see. You try to stare at that hole. Okay? Actually, what will happen? Whatever light energy you have made incident, it will be getting completely. No light is going to come out. So through that hole, because no light is coming out, light will not enter in the observer's eye. So observer cannot see anything. Cannot see. When he cannot see anything, then total darkness. Total darkness. That is why it is called perfect black body. Perfect black body. And now one more thing. Last point. Perfect black body need not appear black. Perfect black body need not appear black. Perfect black body will be found black if you try to see it using reflected light. Using reflected. But now I am not using now reflected light. Listen, suppose I am hitting all these walls. from all these walls uniformly and hitting that. So what will happen now? Each atom in this wall will become emitter of radiant energy. Will become emitter of? So now look here. Radiant energy is emitted. Look here. Radiant energy is emitted from all the parts. Radiant energy is emitted. Fine. When radiant energy is emitted, then inside there is some radiation pressure which is getting developed and is increasing. Radiation pressure is becoming increasing. Why? Because of accumulation of more and more radiant energy. And once that radiation pressure is developed up to certain limit, after that radiation will start leaking outside. Leaking outside. That is emitted radiant energy. That is emitted. And that emitted radiant energy may enter in the observer's eye, and depending upon which frequency is present in the radiation, he will find the color of that body. Okay? So if you try to see perfect black body using emitted energy, then it will not be found black. Then it will not be found black. Got it? Perfect black body need not appear black. Need not appear black. Got it? This Sunday examination will be there for chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next time this chapter will be over. This chapter will be over. Okay?